three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto. It was a hot week for Bitcoin. By the way, please hit that like and subscribe. Bell notification. As always, super chats are available. We appreciate every single one of you and all your support. Mr. FOMO, Bitcoin finally captured 30K. And alts like Chainlink had a amazing 72 hours. Let's talk about Bitcoin first, Mr. FOMO. And we've been talking about it, and we said it was going to take a few times before it finally established that 30K. Well, as of right now, things can change, obviously. We're at 30,700. It looks like that it's the 23rd of October. That 32K prediction we both kind of had is reasonable right now. And that was not looking like the case a week ago. So a lot of positive momentum over the last week.
Well, and to be honest with you, I don't think the positive momentum is done. I could honestly see us reaching up to as high as 34. And I think that was the prediction that I made earlier in the month. I think it was actually closer to 34 is what I said. I'll go back and look at the tape to make sure. But I think our prediction was a little bit higher than that. And with the recent jump in the market, you could actually see that happening. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of people that still live dangerously, and they're taking out short positions constantly on Bitcoin. And we've reached what we call we're within striking distance of that halving event. We're inside that 6-month window now. And so those people are living dangerously. I'm not giving you financial advice on how to, take out your positions or whether or not a future trade or whatever. But I got to tell you, I could see a few more liquidations sending this a little bit higher before we see a retrace going into Thanksgiving. So I could see us making another 10% jump pretty easily. Bitcoin is clearly capable of doing that, and we've seen it happen in the past.
Yeah, we're actually within 5 months of the halving in a week. So forget about that 6 months. Now, again, I want to warn people not only not to take shorts, but not to long and not to FOMO. We're going to talk about Chainlink. Now might not be the time to buy unless you're buying for the next 18 months to 24 months. I think we got to make that clear. Because when you're buying, it's not, we've talked about this before for our new viewers. Sometimes it's not what you buy, it's when you buy is even more important, right? I mean, if you bought Bitcoin at 15K in December and you've been sitting here, well, you've 2x'd already. And we haven't really just gotten started yet. Like I said, the game hasn't started. The players are just in the locker room right now. Get an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game. We're not, the whistle has not been given yet. So, good things are coming. But again, good warning. We do anticipate however long this long streak lasts, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, there will be sometime around the holidays, probably a pushback. And then who knows how long that lasts, because the last pushback really lasted almost 3 months, and no one was very few of us were expecting, bad end of July, August, September, and early October. It took a while. And so this next, cool zone, whenever it happens, and we've barely been hot, so I don't want to talk about it too much. It might be a couple months, and all of a sudden in late February, early March, you might see things heat up. And that's when you really, really want to be paying attention and pay attention to the show, because some people are now saying they anticipate that usually gets kind of warm a little bit before the halving. They kind of anticipate a couple months before the halving. So that means really you got a couple 2 to 3 months now to get your ducks in a row. And it's really about what you want to do. Are you trying to buy for the short term? Are you trying to buy for the long term? Trying to buy for the short term right now, if the alts is very, very challenging. That not financial advice. But I think right now, as of this moment, you got to have an 18 to 24 month outlook, or at least a 6 to 12 month outlook, taking profits anywhere at that time. But to have a 2, 3, 4 week outlook, I don't think is the best route to go because of the situation we're in right now.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, when you look at the charts, I can't really manipulate coin market cap on the fly, but when you look at the charts and you look at when crypto takes off, it really doesn't. You're not going to see those exponential gains until after the halving, at least historically. So you still have time to accumulate, and if you're not in profits right now in the short term, let's say you're a broke Florida teacher and you're only DCAing a little bit at a time, and you're not pulling out huge profits right now, don't be discouraged. We're still in that accumulation phase, right? So we're not necessarily at a point where you have to worry about missing out on something, because there's going to be huge gains way behind this. You're looking at a 3 to 4x at least. I mean, a conservative view of this based on history is what you're looking at in the next bull run. So right now, if you're not in profits or you're not making enough to take out and be satisfied, don't worry, you're still in early. You're still waiting to take those profits. You're still waiting on the explosive gains that come with this market. And so I think it depends on your strategy. If you've got a lot of money and you've thrown it in during these lows, then yeah, you might be in a position to take some of that out and do something with it.
We always talk about zooming out. Well, look at this yearly chart, Mr. FOMO, and then
Right.
I'm gonna really hit you. What if you're someone that has now the key here is, can you find a safe place to store your Bitcoin that you're comfortable with, right? But let's just pretend you've been doing this for 5 years. You're doing well, you know. And so I'm not saying buy Bitcoin and hold for 5 years. That's not what I'm saying. That not horrible advice, but again, we're not financial advisors. But you see, when you do zoom out, things do drastically change.
Yes, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is right now, there are a lot of people that see this explosive growth, but see their portfolios and go, well, I haven't really earned enough. I'm not seeing those crypto gains that everybody talks about. Right, you're not there yet, but you will be. Yeah, taxes. The one thing that we learned during our mistakes is that if you're not taking profits, you're not paying taxes, right? And so if you're paying taxes, that means that you are making a little bit of money in your trading. But yeah, taxes are the downside of taking those profits for sure, Tennessee Eco, man.
All right, one coin we've talked about a lot recently is Chainlink, and oh boy, over the past week has it heated up here. It wasn't that long ago, Mr. Rowan, just about over a week ago. It was in the sevens. We were talking to our viewers, and look what happened here. It briefly hit 11 Sunday. It was a brief moment. That a lot of resistance at that 11. Now at 10.29. Now, if you are going to buy Chainlink, I'll just say this. You're probably buying for the next 6 to 12 months. You might not be buying for the next week or two. When things are heated, as your name suggests, Mr. FOMO, you don't want to try to chase the pumps. Now, do I think Chainlink has a little bit of room to grow in October? Well, it's only October 23rd. However, if I was not in Chainlink right now and I was not taking some profits, and I've talked about Chainlink, that I'm kind of in a position now, just personally, where I could take some profits here. If I wasn't going to take profits here, you're probably looking at not taking profits for several months here until we get closer to the halving. Obviously, anytime, right? If it explodes to 12 or 13, like some people are saying, some people that watch the charts think 12 to 13 is a possibility by Thanksgiving, then you could take charts anytime between then. But if it kind of flutters and never gets above 11 and then retraces to 9, and you're buying at 10, then you are looking at several months of waiting. So just a heads up for our new viewers that see something pump, be like, oh my goodness, let me jump in. Sometimes buying right during a pump is not necessarily great advice.
Yeah, and the reason I took that name for the show is because I want people to learn that lesson. I don't want you to do what I did in the previous bull run and jump out there and say, oh man, this is on a run, it's going to stay on this heater. It doesn't work that way. It especially doesn't always work that way in investing. And there definitely is a time to walk away from a heater, but you don't want to jump in on something while it's going. The same is true for gambling. I mean, if you see somebody on a hot streak at the roulette table, you don't want to walk up and go, all right, I'll jump in on this.
Are you saying you're not taking the Bears to win next week because of their victorious win yesterday?
Yeah, I'm taking profits on the Bears.
And I'll probably be taking profits on the Browns until the quarterback gets healthy, but that's another show for another time. So, Mr. FOMO, let's talk about this. And obviously, we are not. How do I say this? We don't want to. We don't want to try to pretend to be, you know, people that can see the future here. But how far before we leave our viewers do you think this hot streak will go? Do you think we have until Thanksgiving? Do you think we have until after Thanksgiving? Or do you think we are kind of on the limited timeline here and it's really only a couple weeks before we get another cold streak here and Bitcoin goes back?
I think you have a few people coming back in from the Halloween indicator. They're excited about what they see, but I think a lot of this is squeezing, short squeezes where we're squeezing those short positions out of their money. I think there was something like 150 million, something like that in short liquidations at the end of last week. And so when you see people taking those positions, predicting that there's going to be a fall in the crypto market, especially when they're taking positions on alts like that, I think most of that was actually in the alts. You're going to see some movement. So I think if we'll go ahead and post that. I think if people keep taking those short positions, anything's possible. But my thinking is you'll start to see people draw back from investing, especially in riskier stuff like crypto around the holidays. And I really think you'll see that at least a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, if not fully at the beginning of November. So I would be careful once we get into November, even the last week of October, because I could see us actually on a decline in November, especially, seeing what's happened historically.
And you got to pay attention to what's going on around the world. That also could drastically change things as well. So we will, I think we are going to have a good week. So definitely keep it here for all.
But before we get going, make sure you hit the merch store.
Absolutely.
I got the baseball tee on right now, and you don't buy the baseball tee for yourself, even though it's comfy and warm and you'll love it. The baseball tee is actually for your lady. Your lady is going to love wearing this as a sleep shirt. This is the one you want to get, and she'll know that you stay on top of what's happening in crypto because it has the Teaching Crypto logo right on.
All right, great advice for our viewers. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Have a great week, everybody.
See you.